Despite being Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four have yet to have a truly fantastic movie. While the ones from the 2000s are okay, none of them have been as good as they could have been, let's be honest. But back in the mid-90s, a screenwriter named Michael France finally thought he had a clear vision for the team. So what if Michael France's Fantastic Four was made? Following the cancellation of Michael Chabon's take on the Fantastic Four in 1995, 20th Century Fox would press on with another version of the project. Chris Columbus at this point was still expected to direct the movie, with Michael France signed on to write the script. France had experience with blockbuster filmmaking, having previously written the scripts for Sylvester Stallone's Cliffhanger and Pierce Brosnan's GoldenEye. He would write his own take on the Fantastic Four in May of 1996. Reportedly, Dennis Quaid was in mind to play Mr. Fantastic, and Meg Ryan was in mind to play the Invisible Woman. As for Dr. Doom, apparently both Geoffrey Rush and Alan Rickman were in heavy consideration. This version begins with Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm preparing for a mission at the International Space Station. They intend to experiment with nanotechnology, and we see that Ben Grimm has a strict no-nonsense attitude, and he and Reed don't really get along with each other since Reed was put in charge of the mission, and Ben hates taking orders from people he doesn't respect. We're then introduced to Johnny Storm, with him making out with a woman he just met while riding a motorcycle across the desert. And we see that while yes, he's definitely full of himself and he's a bit of a hothead, he can be mature when it matters. He actually seems genuinely worried about his sister getting hurt on this mission, but she misreads him all the time, and she doesn't always see the good in him. Also, we see his iconic flame on catchphrase actually comes from what he likes to say as he turns the engines on for blastoff. Reed and Sue by this point are already in a relationship and are actually engaged to be married to each other. The four of them board the experimental space plane, the FF-4 Phoenix, and travel to the International Space Station, where we meet a man named Victor Obrecht. So yes, his name is not actually Doom in this version. He's described as being incredibly full of himself, and is the type to regularly brag about his talent and looks. Now, Victor sees great potential in their work, and he tries to get the rest of the group to allow him to experiment on animal test subjects. But when Reed denies him this request, Victor decides to take his frustration out on Ben by deliberately luring him to the nano chamber and causing a malfunction. Now, Ben, of course, gets caught up in the laser beams, while the other three all gain their powers by trying to help Ben out. However, Victor's tampering causes the station to actually fall out of orbit, and while the main four are able to escape, Victor is left to die because they all think he's dead. The four of them crash land in New York City, where they're soon put into quarantine, and they discover each of their four new powers. The group soon has to fight with a terrorist group who threatened to blow up the city on New Year's Eve during the Times Square ball drop. The group are of course able to stop the bomb using their new abilities, and are dubbed the Fantastic Four by the press. Meanwhile, we discover of course that Victor is not actually dead, I'm so shocked, and he instead transformed into Dr. Doom, and conquered his home country of Latveria. Doom crowns himself King of Latveria, and uses his newly created Doom bots to intimidate and or kill anyone that gets in his way. He later blasts a US aircraft from out of the sky and invades the United Nations headquarters with his Doombot army in tow. He destroys the building and threatens the other world leaders to surrender to his control. The Fantastic Four then arrive in Latveria using the newly created Fantasticar and take the fight directly to Doom, who they of course defeat. Other things that are present in this version include all of the team members suffering from communication issues, as Sue questions Reed's priorities, as he's been focusing more on curing Ben than the two of them, getting married to each other, and the rest of the team all bicker and argue with one another. Doom himself is also a very interesting villain in this one, as in this version, instead of being deformed, he would actually just imagine himself that way. There is a beautifully written scene, actually, in which he looks into the mirror without his mask on, and he sees the face of a monster looking back at at him. But when we see him from another perspective, he only has a minor scratch on his face. There also would have been an end credit scene, teasing Reed and Sue having their first child together, and would have announced the title of the next movie as Fantastic Four: The New Baby. Tim Flattery was hired to draw concept art for this version of the movie, and principal photography was seemingly set to begin the following year, with an estimated release date of 1998 or 1999. However, the script was considered to be too long by pretty much everybody. It's 160 pages, which doesn't sound too long, but the vast majority of the script is made up of action scenes that go on for way too long, honestly. It's estimated that this version of the movie would have cost $280 million to produce, so France attempted to shorten the script to a tighter 135 pages, but by that point, Fox decided they'd just rather hire somebody new. So there are things I like and don't like about this version of the movie. Things that I don't like the fact that the team are all at each other's throats. Like, seriously, every single one of them seem to hate each other, honestly. Johnny and Ben don't like each other, Reed and Sue are arguing with each other, Ben and Reed don't like each other. It's too much, in my opinion. Like, there's too much infighting. I do think there's such a thing as too much infighting, because, like, even when Sue and Reed are arguing with each other, like, Reed at least always has Ben. You know what I mean? Like, Ben is always Ben, Reed's best friend. They hardly ever fight in the comics, honestly. And for the idea of their debut movie being with them fighting, I don't like it. I really don't like that, honestly. Because really, their friendship is supposed to be one of the best parts of the team, and in this version, they can't even stand to be near each other. They're not friends at all. And I honestly don't like that, because, I mean, Ben already has that kind of relationship with Johnny, and I think it's fine with him and Johnny. I don't see why it has to be him and Johnny and him and Reed. It just seems like overkill to me. But there are things about this I do like. I like the fact that Doctor Doom is way more fucking badass in this version. Like, I like how it actually has Latveria in it, and he conquers it, and he doesn't take no for an answer, and he has all his Doom bots. It's so much cooler than Julian McMahon's version. I'm sorry, Julian McMahon, you tried, but you're just not intimidating, man. I'm sorry. So in my opinion, there has yet to be a Doctor Doom in the movies that truly was as intimidating as his comic book counterpart. And this version, I think, does his character a lot more justice. Now, as far as Joffrey Rush or Alan Rickman playing him, both of them would have done a fantastic job, in my opinion. I really, really do think that both of those guys are really good at being intimidating with just their eyes. Like, they honestly both have kind of scary eyes, in my opinion. So I really do think they could work through the mask. And with the scenes they're not wearing the mask, I think they could work with that too, honestly. I really do think that either one of them could be a great Doctor Doom. And the script really does them favors, and both of them are fantastic, no pun intended, actors. So yeah, I really think that they can make it work. Dennis Quaid is Mr. Fantastic. I don't know. I like Dennis Quaid, but I don't know if he would fit with this personally. Maybe it's just because, he wasn't part of my era. As I said, I was born in the early 2000s, and he was kind of before my time, I feel. But maybe I'm missing something. I think he would probably be a good Mr. Fantastic. He looks the part, in my opinion. But let me know in the comments what you think of him, because I'm not familiar enough with his work, honestly, to say whether or not I think he'd be a really good Reed Richards. Same would go to Meg Ryan, honestly, because again, she was before my time. Haven't really seen much of her, so yeah. I mean, again, in the comments, let me know. So I don't really have opinions on them. They both look the part, but looks are not everything. You can look the part, but if you can't act the part, then don't bother, in my opinion. It really hurts that I don't know who's playing the Thing or the Human Torch in this version, because it would kind of be nice to be able to visualize the entire team, but beggars can't be choosers. I'll take what I can get. I've done versions of canceled movies that have absolutely no cast listed whatsoever, so this is actually a blessing compared to those. But yeah, I agree that the script has too much action in it, because superhero movies are about more than just action, and I think this movie has too much action, too much arguing. It has too much heartbeat inducing stuff, if that makes sense. There needs to be some calm moments in superhero movies, and this movie just seems too go. It doesn't take chances chances to breathe, in my opinion. But that being said, I do think that this version probably still would have been better than the Tim Story one, just because I think that Doctor Doom, as I said, is a lot better in this one. And I think that Michael Franz really had ambition when it came to Fantastic Four. I'm not saying that the people who worked on the Tim Story one didn't, but this version really does feel like he really cared, like really wanted this to be as good as it possibly could be. And while I don't think it's the best script in the world, like it's got issues, I definitely think this is a big improvement over the one we actually got. That's just my opinion. I'm sure that some people are going to disagree. Some people are going to say, oh, are you crazy? And for the record, I like the Tim Story ones. I actually rewatched the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies recently, and they're better than I remember, but also worse than I remember. And I gotta say, I think they get too much flack, but I'm being honest, I do think this version does sound better than both of those versions, at least from a script perspective. Again, as I said, it needed to be shortened a little bit, and I'm glad he shortened it to 135 pages, and the cast would have to be on point. Doctor Doom sounds perfect. I don't know about the main team, though. That's the X factor. And this movie would need a really big budget to really make, Latveria especially work. Like, they would need a really good budget. They need the right people behind it to really make this vision as good as it possibly could be. But in my opinion, if they had all those ingredients, this absolutely could have been the good Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four that we've been waiting years to see. But anyway, let me know in the comments down below what you think of this version of the movie. Would you have preferred it to the Tim Story one? Let me know about it in the comments down below. Now give this video a thumbs up, please, and share it with all of your friends on all your various social media platforms. And speaking of social media, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Rinzler_Productions, and I'll see all you guys in the next video.